Thank you so very much for staying tuned. We're all set to bring to you a very, very special dialogue on healthcare in Asia. What's the right way forward? And joining us now will be Mr. Ajay Singh Chauhan, General Manager, India, SEA, HK, Taiwan, Korea, Cardiac Rhythm Management, Abbott, in dialogue with Ms. Payal Agrawal, General Manager, Emerging Asia and Korea, Structural Heart, Abbott. So let's listen in.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today. I am Payal Agrawal, General Manager for Abbott Structural Heart Business for Emerging Asia and Korea. And this is my colleague, Ajay Singh Chauhan, General Manager for the Cardiac Rhythm Management Business, India, Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Korea. Good afternoon, Ajay.
Good afternoon, Payal.
Ajay, let's talk about health tech in Asia, which has been a growth story till now. So I'll share some perspectives from my side, and I'll be happy if you could share your perspective as well. So
Sure.
Asia has seen rapid growth over the years when it comes to the healthcare industry. This is mainly due to the emergence of health tech. Health technology constitutes advancements such as medical wearables, centralized databases, medical applications, use of artificial intelligence, mobile technology, amongst many other things. Another aspect is the rapid adoption of digital tools, bringing solutions such as telemedicine and e-pharmacies to the consumer's fingertips. While the COVID-19 pandemic has really pushed the healthcare system to the extreme, industry and governments are increasingly using digital services for the public now. For example, in December 2021, the Australian government announced it is providing $106 million over 4 years to support continuing telehealth services. This additional investment in Medicare services and practice incentive payments ensure greater flexibility to patients and doctors for the delivery of healthcare, allowing GPs, specialists, and allied health professionals to consult with the regular patients by phone or video conferencing. So what do you think about this, Ajay? What are your thoughts?
That's so true, Payal. However, the challenge is that the things are changing so fast and the dynamics are changing so fast that the main challenge is to constantly evolve and keep the pace with consumer needs. If I can quote an example, a prime example is Korea model, right? South Korea has been seen as a success story during the earlier part of pandemic after it contained the infection and hospitalization more effectively than most of the other countries in West. Health authorities worked closely with biotech companies to ramp up the lab tests and aggressively mobilized technology, tools, and public workers to trace contact. However, they have to again change quickly their tactics by unprecedented spike in infection, which has been fueled recently by Omicron variant. The public workers who had been monitoring virus carriers through GPS-enabled smartphone were then assigned to help with the home testing and the treatment. So continuously evolving is the key.
Yeah, very true, Ajay, and I totally believe in that. And like you were saying, Omicron and the COVID-19, it's really testing all the technology advancements which is happening. But one of the several factors which has really propelled this growth in Asia, I think, is primarily the growth in the aging population. And I think, you will be aware and many more will be aware about it. As per the statistics, Asia will be home to 456 million seniors aged 65 and older by 2025. This will be representing 10% of its population, and this is a huge number. So I think one of the need for technology advancements in healthcare is this rapid demographic change that has increased the demand for health services. And again, during COVID, we have seen that the way the different countries have strategized is really based on their population age as well. Now, considering with a few exceptions of countries in the region, the average number of doctors, if you see, 1,000 per person in Asia is lower than OECD average. And there can be no better example than India to illustrate the need of medical technology. If we were to compare, India has 6 doctors for every 10,000 Indians, whereas China has 20 doctors for every 10,000 people. And if you look at Australia within APAC itself, it has got roughly 249 doctors for every 10,000 people. So if we were to really think of innovation in healthcare, I think it is need of the hour, considering the need of technology to really bridge this demand supply.
True, true, Payal. And if I can add, there is another factor, and that is the rising consumer expectations. Consumers are spending more on health and wellness and increasingly demand access to convenient and affordable care. Asia today is home to half the world's internet users, and as of now leads digital innovation in multiple sectors. Venture capital and private equity investment recently in digital health in Asia have grown by whopping 38%. And that's a CAGR from 2015 to 20. As a result, as of 2020, Asia comprises almost 44% of global venture capital or private equity investment in digital health. That is 6 billion of overall 14 billion investment which has been there. Coming to the topic of creating a conducive ecosystem in India for health tech, as you are aware and you will agree that health tech industry in India is expected to grow to USD 50 billion by 2025. And the Indian healthcare scenario presents a very contrasting landscapes. We are a country of more than 1.3 billion with socio-economic disparity and the demographics leading to challenges in healthcare delivery systems. The access to the quality care is an important factor for improving overall health and patient outcomes. What is estimated that close to 65% of population is still uninsured. This significantly reduces these patients' access in timely manners. They miss out on primary care and eventually are compelled to rely on higher cost and lower value service. The government is reimagining the healthcare infrastructure. Healthcare providers are redefining the process with help of technology, and the insurers are looking to include high quality innovation products under the reimbursement to improve the access. There have been several measures from both the central and state government to create a conducive, growth-oriented ecosystem for industry. There are medical parks have been created and policies incorporated to boost investment and manufacturing. However, there's still a long way to go to bring in policy stability and, more importantly, predictability, which will help, which is more important, I think, in helping boosting the investors' confidence. Yes, there has been a focus on Make in India, encouraging innovations and production within the country. While this does help the domestic industry, it is critical that there is no compromise on the quality of innovation, on patient safety, product efficacy, and technology, material as well as process. Your take on this, Payal?
So very rightly said, Ajay, and I think you have touched upon a very important point, I think, which is quality of innovation and in technology especially. And I feel as an ecosystem, it is really important to ensure that access to medical technologies across therapies at a quality and a suitable quality is available. And this will also enable MedTech companies to bring in a lot of innovations to India. As an example, I will quote technologies such as transcatheter valve replacement, which is minimally invasive options with improved outcomes and which are really replacing open heart surgeries, which are considered riskier, especially for the elder population. So I think all these efforts are in the right direction. And there is a lot that still needs to be accomplished to improve demand and access in India. And few of the things which I think are important are stability and predictability into the policy and regulatory environment, which really means that the frequent changes in the policies hamper the ease of doing business. And not just in India, I think it creates a bad perception about India in the global market as well. Second is improving reimbursement coverage. So government has done a phenomenal job in terms of launching Ayushman Bharat. And I think more effective implementation of Ayushman Bharat in terms of inclusion of latest technologies and higher package rates is something which can be looked into. And third, the most important thing is bridging the disparity in the quality of products and services available in urban and rural setups. And this is something I think you would have also faced for your business, that there is really a difference in terms of quality products available in urban compared to the rural setups. So these are all what I think, Ajay. And, taking on this discussion further, I would really like to hear, what do you think the role of regulatory and environment dynamics really play in this entire thing?
Oh, yes. And we would have seen that in last couple of years, especially when it comes to medical devices, the entire regulatory environment in India is changing, and it is changing very fast. Across Asia, government authorities have reevaluated regulations on medical devices as market continue to experience rapid changes, and as devices themselves gain sophistication and complexity at a very fast pace. Yes, it's different in different countries. There are different levels. But what is important is that all country needs to ease the complex regulatory environment for medical technologies. What we need are policies that incentivize local manufacturing while complementing it with the global know-how of importers in order to maintain the complete ecosystem, creating level playing fields and make quality devices and care accessible to the affordable to the patients. Another important point is that we also need a consistent interpretation and application of regulatory guidelines by different stakeholders, and a more simpler regulatory pathways for new products which are harmonized, which are aligned with the global standards. Further, streamlining the quality standards with globally relevant standard is very, very important if we want to reduce that complexity and bring in ease of doing business and bringing innovations. Your thoughts on this, Payal?
So, very rightly said, Ajay. I think innovation is the need of the hour for Indian medical technology industry. Seeing our aging population, seeing the need of the demand-supply gap, and there are certain key enablers that will really facilitate and drive the process of innovation. And surely supportive regulatory is a key enabler for same. I think a sound regulatory framework is a key enabler for growth of medical technology industry, and it will really accelerate the pace of innovation. The most immediate need is to develop a regulatory environment which is not only pro-growth, but also harmonized with global standards in medical technology. So I think you have summarized it really well. So looking at local, but also globalizing the standards in coordination with what the global standards are, I think that is something which can be really looked at for India. Shifting little bit gears, let's discuss a bit on the medical device landscape for communicable and non-communicable diseases. So Ajay, your thoughts?
Yeah. So chronic disease management, I think, is in particular is a very compelling opportunity. And as you know, United Nations flagged non-communicable disease or chronic diseases as a global health emergency as far back as 2011. Surprisingly, not much has been done since then. These conditions include diabetes, obesity, hypertension, cardiovascular disorders, cancers, and chronic obstructive lung disorders. All of these are amenable for digital therapies and are very large opportunities globally. Take cancer, for example. Nearly 90% of cancers in India are diagnosed at stage 3 and 4. patients have to travel to advanced centers in tier 1 cities for treatment. But if we can identify these cancers at stage 1 or 2, we can treat them at the hospital nearer to their homes. Obviously, the cost of treatment will be far less, the result of treatment will be better, and the patients would not have to travel larger cities and face the challenges such as finding accommodation in these new places. So it is a complete technology play, organizing the journey from early screening and diagnosis to treatment and post-treatment and all the way up to genomics and clinical trial. Fortunately, the Ayushman Bharat digital mission launched by the government of India aims to develop the backbone necessary to support the integrated digital health infrastructure of the country. It is a move in a very right direction, and I think it is going to help in managing these kind of diseases. Over to you, Payal, for your thoughts and insights on this.
So thanks, Ajay. I think it's again, I mean, I feel proud that we are in India, which is self-reliant, and there are a lot of initiatives from our government as well. And, you know, I'll talk about some of the things wherein technology, artificial intelligence, as well as global databases is being really leveraged. And I want to talk about how the entire study of emergence of infectious diseases is being happening, including COVID-19, which is one aspect of how scientists are using technology to better understand future risks. So they are reviewing data about infections, origin from genomics and molecular sources, and relating it to historical data. As an example, I would like to share with the viewers here and the listeners here that Abbott, we have created the Abbott Pandemic Defense Coalition. We have been hunting for virus for 25 years. With a global network of virus hunters on the ground, this coalition offers speed because it breaks down barriers and streamlines sharing of virus information and samples. This helps public health officials implement a swift and appropriate response. By connecting global centers of excellence, our coalition will identify new pathogens, analyze potential risk levels, and rapidly develop and deploy new diagnostic tests and assess public health impact in real time. And I mean, again, everyone would have seen the way all the diagnostic tests from Abbott were rolled out in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic. But I think, again, we have to be really proud in terms of what global the scientists are doing to leverage all of these databases, the medical technology, plus all the efforts which have been going on in India as well in the last couple of years. Moving on from here, Ajay, let's talk about medical technology, how it is paving the way for better health outcomes for the future.
Yeah, so if I have to put it simply, medical technology improves lives. That's as simple as that. It alleviates pain, injury, and enhances the overall quality and the effectiveness of care. At Abbott, for instance, we are working in areas where huge chronic diseases exist, such as diabetes and cardiovascular care. We are looking at a future with innovative devices. We are able to constantly monitor patients no matter where they are. For example, recently we have launched smart Bluetooth-enabled remote monitoring cardiac devices, which allows patients to be connected to their healthcare providers on a seamless basis. And the emergency care is much more better with these kind of technologies. What happens is that these devices allow us to take data and turn them into insight to help with informed clinical decision, enabling better patient outcomes, and more importantly, at the right time. This is applicable for people's general health condition or highly specific areas such as arrhythmias, to continuous glucose monitoring or movement disorders. Talking specifically about arrhythmias, which is a common yet very difficult to identify condition. People get symptoms sometimes like palpitations, and other times they will get dizziness. But when you go to the doctor, nothing happens. It is perfectly fine. And next time it happens, you may not be close to your doctor. So how does one diagnose the condition then? So today we have this insertable cardiac monitor, or what we call as ICM, which is just placed under the skin with a minimal invasive procedure. And this continuously monitors your heart rhythm and signals for signs of atrial fibrillation. Prior to the evolution of this technology, the ability to monitor patient was very short-lived, but this allows a seamless, continuous monitoring and allows a patient to continue to live their lives undeterred and without any fear. Our medical device, which can be worn or implanted in the body, are at forefront of these advancements, providing critical information to the user and the physicians. And as I said, at continuously, painlessly, and on time. Another example in this area is from the area of diabetes. Remote monitoring during this public health crisis has been vital, especially in the hospitals where healthcare worker needs to have a minimized risk and exposure to COVID-19. Access to Abbott continuous glucose monitoring system, for example, allows the frontline health workers to remotely monitor and protect the admitted patients with diabetes while continuing to tend to influx of the critical care need. The adoption of Libre View platform went up by 2 times in Australia in the first year of COVID, becoming a bridge for the users who were distanced due to COVID. And we believe that the technology empowers people, and I'm really proud that as a leader in connected care, we feel it's important to highlight the value of medical technology offers across the continuum of care. Payal, your examples or your thoughts on this as to how Abbott has been leading in this space?
So I feel proud, Ajay, listening to you. And I think, one of the critical aspects of all the examples that you shared just now with our viewers is really identifying the gap that exists and finding solutions that is tailor-made and customized. I think that is something which is very crucial in all the examples which you have mentioned. And I want to share one more example. We know that every year, thousands of babies are born with congenital heart defects, which is like a hole in the heart. When that happens, an already fragile life can be greatly impacted. And, I don't want to get into the detail of that. But keeping that in mind, at Abbott, we therefore invented the world's first device, small enough to close that hole, even in the tiniest and the most delicate of hearts. And this is sub 1 kg kids, which is preterm babies born who are probably the fragilest now living beings which are there on this earth. And I really feel proud when I share this example as well with all of you. Now, this is personalized technology at its best. So if I were to talk HealthTech has taken on a new sense of urgency. There is convergence of health, technology, which is powered by data, cutting-edge science, and technological innovation. We must continuously ask ourselves the question that help us design solution. Some of the questions we have answered. What if I could find out that I am not infected before I gather with my family? What if I could know that I was at a greater risk of an impending heart attack? But there are others which can still have answers. What if we could stop a pandemic before it starts? What if everyone had access to affordable care, even in the remotest part of the world? And then there are many questions that we don't even know about. So when I were to think about these questions, I only think that technology has fueled and will always fuel new advances in health, new vaccines, new ways of screen, new ways of monitoring and connecting, a rapid use of data and AI to better predict and target illness and better treat patients. And we still have far to go by linking technology to deliver consumer-focused technologies. So the future lies in creating technologies that bring people and the loved ones and the cared ones that's more personal and more precise. That a kind of future that really gives you the convenience, control, and most importantly, that extends access to more people than before. It is a future where people can more proactively manage their health, detect disease earlier, and even prevent it from happening. With the right tools, data, access, and interventions, we can give everyone a chance to live a fuller and healthier life. So, with that, I would really like to say thank you to all the viewers present today for hearing us out on this important topic. And Ajay, you want to share some closing remarks before we bid adieu to the audience here?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Payal. This was very good conversation, and it's so inspiring talking about all the technologies which we have been bringing around to help into the patient cares. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Chauhan, Ms. Agrawal. It was a pleasure listening into this very, very interesting dialogue, and I'm sure that our viewers had many takeaways. And once again, like to remind all our viewers that it's your tweets that sort of keeps us going and getting to know what your various comments are. I'd also like to request you to head to our lobby zone where we have a special Twitter wall. We'd love to know what you think. Do remember to tag us. I'd also like to invite you to join us in our partner booth zone where you can connect with our partners and know more. If you'd like to share experiences or know the experience of others from the fraternity, you're welcome to join us in the networking zone. Right there, we have a lot happening for you. We're all set to bring to you our next segment on how technology is revolutionizing clinical trials. What's next? All this and a lot more thanks to our next speaker in just a bit.